Are you on a path of personal or professional development and you are wanting to work on your gifts and superpowers and really hone them in a way that you can make a greater difference in the world? If so, you're going to want to watch this video because I want to help people to successfully do that and avoid the mental struggles that come with working to become a giver and an impact maker and when you're putting yourself out there. Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and chief giver over at the GIVER Method. If you're new here, welcome. Being a giver is all about helping people to identify their gifts and superpowers so they can find the right people to influence. They can deliver value to those people without asking for anything in return, and that each engagement, interaction, discussion with them is as effective and eager as possible. So one of the big pieces that comes with all of that is that you're working on yourself, putting yourself out there, which often can bring mental struggle. Are you ready to discover the powerful connection that is between giving in this sort of a way with your gifts and superpowers and mental health? Today I want to dive into how using your gifts and superpowers can dramatically improve your mental health and overall well-being. Now, I know what you may be thinking, Jake, I'm struggling just to get through the day. How can I focus on giving to others? But what if I told you that using your superpowers to help others could be the key to boosting your own mental health and helping you to be more productive in the day? Now, before we dive in, once again, if you're new here, just go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that bell for notifications, all that type of stuff. Comment your thoughts along the way, and of course, you can always share this with someone who may need it. We don't want you to miss out on any of the content that we have as we unlock different principles around the GIVER Method, and we also want you to be able to share this with others so that we can create as big of a ripple effect of positivity that we can with this. So I'm going to be going over some different principles and things that you can do for this. As I do, I'm going to kind of cover what the topic is, the principle, and then I'm going to give you an action item. And so for each of these, I recommend that you get out a piece of paper, open a note, whatever the thing may be, and that you start taking down what that action item would be so that you could implement it right away within what you're doing day to day, this week, this month, whatever that may look like. Let's start with this first principle, which is self-awareness and emotional regulation. This is about recognizing that your unique gifts and how they may affect your mental state. I remember when I was first on a journey, with developing the GIVER Method, and I was going through a really tough time. I was feeling lost and kind of unsure of my purpose. And it wasn't until I really took the time to reflect on my strengths that I really started to feel the change. A story like I realized that one of my superpowers is about helping people to break down complex ideas. And I started using that more and more. When I got to actually start using it with clients on a day-to-day basis who were struggling with their business, I was able to start explaining things out in a way that made sense to them. And it not only helped them, but it also gave me more of a sense of purpose. It made me feel more accomplished. It made me feel like I was doing more to move their business forward. And so that was gratifying to me. My mood, it lifted, and I felt so much more confident. Now, another example that, may or may not resonate with you is when I was feeling completely out of place during a really stressful period of work. Like drowning in doubt, unsure if I was making a difference. And it wasn't until one day that one of my colleagues, my office admin, she's great, and we'll talk about her again a little bit later, that she actually came up and said, hey, you know what, thank you for being the calm in the storm with everything that's going on right now. Like, when I look over to you, you just always seem so calm, and it helps me stay calm. And that was like a light bulb moment that, oh my gosh, I have the ability to stay calm in stressful, high stress environments. And it was a gift that I could use. And by embracing it, I really started to feel more grounded in myself, as well as apparently to her, it was something that she felt, and it helped her feel more grounded as well. So the action item around this principle is that you want to start a superpower journal. You can start today. Each day, write down one way that you used your unique gifts, superpowers, whatever it may be, and then reflect on how it made you feel and note the impact it had on others. Like, this practice is going to help you to recognize your own strengths and see the positive effect that they're having on your mental well-being and the mental well-being of others. Our second principle is going to be all about mindful giving. So this is about using your gifts and superpowers intentionally to improve mental health, both yours and others. I remember a time where I was, completely overwhelmed at work, working on a project for a client. I was having massive anxiety attacks, and my ability to work was just shutting down. And I had a lot I really did need to get done. And luckily, my office admin, she has this superpower of being able to read people's body language. And she could tell that even though I was putting on a happy face as I walked through the office, that I was actually struggling badly. And so she came and she popped into my office and she asked me how I was doing. She listened to me complain about what my problems were and then offered me a little bit of advice on how I could move past the anxiety and the overwhelm. Like, she gave me such reassuring words that I needed in that moment. And this may seem like just a small gesture, but it not only made it so that I was able to start being productive again, but I could see how energized she was because she was able to use her gifts to help me. So your action item here, choose one of your gifts or superpowers and find a way that you can use it mindfully throughout this week to help someone. And pay attention to how it affects your mood and your stress levels and what their mood and their energy is like as you do that. Now, our next principle is all about building supportive relationships. Now, you can do this through sharing your gifts. So human connection is such a vital part of mental health. I'm not a mental health expert, but I know for a fact that that is true. And giving, especially with your gifts and superpowers, is one of the most natural ways to foster a sense of belonging. When you're putting yourself out there and trying to improve yourself, you're bound to run into things like self-doubt. It happens all the time. And, for me, I like to put myself out there when I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to create this thing called the GIVER method and write a book, and I'm trying to run a business, and of course I'm married and I've got 3 boys and I'm responsible for a bunch of stuff at church and all these sort of things. And to me it feels like it's a very unique place to be in. I'm like, who else is experiencing this exact thing as me? Nobody. Not many people truly understand all the things I'm going through, is how I felt. So I started to feel isolated and really anxious and uncertain about what I was doing. And it made me really want to give up on trying to improve myself, on trying to do these things that were going to make a greater impact. And then randomly, out of the blue, I get a voice message from a friend, and he just saying how much he appreciates me. He loves what I'm doing. He loves what I'm working on with the book, and he loves all the things that I'm doing to improve myself, that he notices the differences. And he talked about how he loves how I show up and how present I am when I'm working with others. And then, of course, in his own right, he offered me some advice and help, utilizing some of his gifts and superpowers. But it was exactly what I needed. That message, it pulled me out of a funk, and it reminded me that often we underestimate the value of just staying connected to others and the value when we offer our gifts to others. So your action item here is going to be, I want you to reach out to a friend or family member this week and offer them help using a gift or superpower. Pay attention to how this strengthens your connection. The alternative would be to take some time and write a text, do a voicemail, whatever the thing may be, and deliver that to somebody, just saying how much you appreciate them, what they're doing, what you see that they're doing, because there's so many times that people need that connection. And like I said, it helps me a ton. It helped pull me out of this funk that I was in and help me move forward so I could keep progressing, so I can make the greater impact in the world. Our fourth principle is going to be all about finding purpose and meaning, and actually, of course, doing this with your gifts for a greater cause. So when you give in a way that aligns your gifts and your values, it helps you create a sense of direction and fulfillment that goes way beyond just temporary happiness. Now, in the GIVER Method book, when it comes out, one of the very first things I talk about is I tell this story about the sea of cubicles. The day that I woke up, I say this is the day that I woke up and I felt like I stepped out of the Matrix. I was working in a corporate environment in this sea of cubicles. As far as the eye could see, and people in a call center and things like that. And I'm listening to some coworkers of mine have a conversation, and all of a sudden, it hits me. I'm like, I don't belong here. This isn't me. And then it opened my eyes even more to where I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much more that I could be doing. I have so many more gifts and superpowers, and it started to help me realize what was possible and the impact that I could make in the world. And as I started to look at those and embrace them and really start to go after them, is where I really found more and more purpose and meaning, and really that drive that I needed to do to improve myself. So your action item here is to identify a cause, an issue, something you're passionate about. Find a way to get more involved with your unique strengths. Find the way. Sometimes it might be taking the time to actually go write a purpose statement or your values if you've never done that. It might be hard to pick a cause or an issue that you want to be passionate about if you've never done that. So either take the time to create a purpose statement and write out what your values are so that you can be driven in your actions, or if you know what those things are, start to identify more and more something that you're passionate about that you could go start making an impact in using those gifts and superpowers. You could volunteer, you could offer your skills, you could mentor someone, whatever that thing may be. Principle 5 is all about cultivating gratitude. Appreciating your own gifts and the gifts of others can significantly boost your sense of well-being. Like, I remember a time when I was going through a period where everything seemed to just be going wrong. From work setbacks to personal stress, it's just all over the place. And one day, I decided, on the advice of somebody, that I'm just going to start writing out things that I'm grateful for. I did it just as an experiment. I didn't necessarily think, when they said to do it, I didn't think it was going to work, but I was like, all right, let's do this. And at first, they were small. They were things like, hey, I've got supportive friends and family. I'm able to make people smile. I'm grateful for, the house that I live in. I'm grateful for, relationships. And, just simple things. But that daily habit grew over time, and it really made me start to realize how much I had to be thankful for. This gratitude, it helped me focus on what was good even when I was in my darkest times, and helped pull me through that so that I had that sense of direction. So the action item here is going to be to start a gratitude and giving journal. Each day, just take the time to write down one act of giving you performed and one thing you're grateful for. It's also going to challenge you to start doing those things. Start actually using your gifts and superpowers once a day and finding those things that you're grateful for. This practice, it will create a really strong and powerful cycle that just boosts your mood, and it reduces the stress that you have. Principle 6 is all about self-compassion. Now, it's important to be kind to yourself as you develop and share your superpowers. Once again, most of these things I learned from myself, and so shockingly, all these stories are about me because I had to learn these things. And so it's important that you have to be kind to yourself. I struggled with it. I would beat myself up over, if I didn't use my gifts or if I didn't use them perfectly. It wasn't until I learned to treat myself with the same kindness I showed others that I really started to thrive. There was a time where I was constantly criticizing myself. I was feeling like I wasn't living up to my potential, especially when I wasn't helping others as much as I wanted to. I fell into the problem that a lot of people fall into, is where I compare myself to others and think I'm not doing enough. And it wasn't until someone close to me, they said, would you ever talk to me that way? Would you ever talk to me the way that you're talking to yourself? And it hit home, where I started to think about that. Well, no, I wouldn't say that to other people. And so I had to find these ways to start practicing self-compassion. Reminding myself that I don't need to be perfect to make a difference. It's not that I don't know how, it's that I just don't know how yet. It's not that I'm not smart, it's just I'm not smart enough yet. Whatever the thing may be, I've got room to grow, and that's a very big growth mindset that helps you really move through this idea of self-compassion. So an action item here would be to write yourself a compassion letter, maybe. Acknowledge your efforts, your gifts, the positive impact you're making, no matter how small it might seem. And feel free, this is where you can be selfish and brag about yourself to yourself, because no one else is going to see it, and find those things that are true. Don't look past any of the pieces, because some people would be tempted to not add certain parts to that sort of a compassion letter. And really, I recommend that you just brain dump everything that's on your mind, whether you think it's true or not, and help to build yourself up. Now, our final principle is about balancing giving and self-care. While you're using your superpowers to help others, it's very fulfilling, of course, but it's essential that you take care of yourself so that you avoid burnout. I remember a time where I was so focused on helping others that I was, I said yes to everything. I was saying yes to anything my family needed me to do, people at work, at church. I just kept saying yes to every project or thing, that came my way. And it actually got to a point where I reached total burnout. I wasn't sleeping. I was super irritable. I had just felt like I had nothing left to give, and I felt like people were taking advantage of me even. And so it wasn't until I took some time and I looked at how I was really using my time and energy, and realized what I wanted to spend my time and energy on, that I actually gave myself the permission slip to just say no to some things. And that's okay. You don't have to be the person that does something for everyone. It took some time, but a certain amount of time after a while, I started to work through that. I even had to take some time to be like, you know what, I need a recharge weekend where I've got no obligations, no things I have to do, and this really helped me realize how essential that self-care was. So once I was able to recharge, I was able to give from a place of abundance rather than depletion. And so take the time. The action item here would be create a self-care plan. This should include activities that recharge you, whether it's meditation, it could be exercise, it could be simply taking time to relax, it could be shopping, whatever the thing may be, and schedule time for these activities. It might be a daily thing, a weekly thing, a month, whatever it may be, but schedule these activities so that you ensure that you're taking care of yourself while you're trying to give. Now, there are some common challenges that you might face. These just happen no matter what. And they things like you have to overcome self-doubt about the value of your gifts. Your gifts have so much value to other people. You just need to realize that. You are going to have times where you're down and in low places, and you have to find the motivation to push through those. Challenges of dealing with fear or of vulnerability when you're reaching out to others, when you're stepping out into something new. Challenges maintaining consistency in your giving or gratitude practices. Don't let those things fall away. And then, of course, avoiding burnout while you continue to give. Now, remember, these challenges, they are completely normal and can be overcome by, just practice and patience. Now, the GIVER method, what we do, it isn't just about growing a business or growing whatever. It's about personal growth. It's about well-being. Now, when you use your unique gifts to create value for others, you're not just helping them, you're helping yourself. Think about your superpowers. Maybe you're a great listener, or you have a knack for making people laugh. When you use these gifts intentionally, you're helping others, but you're also boosting your own mental condition. So think on that for a while. And as we wrap up, I want to really challenge you to start seeing your mental health through this lens of giving and how you can make an impact with it. Your gifts and superpowers aren't just tools for success, they're the key to your well-being. So start small, things like the Superpower Journal or Gratitudes Daily. Each day, just take the time to write down how you used your unique gift and how it made you feel. Remember that just taking care of your mental health, it isn't selfish, it is necessary. We all need it. And by using the GIVER method, you can improve your well-being while having a positive impact on the world around you. And if you want to dive deeper into that type of stuff, go to thegivermethod.com, sign up for our newsletter list. You can get notifications about when our book is going to come out. You can see how we do speaking from stage and podcasts or the services we offer, things like that. There's all sorts of fun things on the website. So go to thegivermethod.com. You can also check us out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those sorts of places where we continue to give out tips and suggestions and ideas that help people to develop those gifts and superpowers so they can give them to the right people. Now, if this video of this topic resonated with you, then go ahead and once again, give it a thumbs up, like that video, share it with someone who might need to hear this message, because you may know somebody that you're like, yeah, they need this idea. I want to help to spread this power of giving and also then focus on what it can be for your mental health, both far and wide. So until next time, just keep growing, keep giving, and remember that your superpowers aren't just good for, something that you would use for business or whatever. They're good for your soul. They're good for you to give to other people in that way. So use them wisely. Believe in yourself, because I believe in you, and the universe is ready for you to step into who it is that you're meant to be. Until next time, have a great rest of your day.